Five is the number of the day.
Welcome to the Fan2Fan 5-Minute Fridays, where, for 5 minutes or less, we talk about a topic, a movie, a TV show, anything that we're interested, passionate about for, you guessed it, 5 minutes. My name is Bertie Gonzalez, and along with co-host Pete Charbonneau, we are joined by Fan2Fan All-Star Josh Pruitt, and we briefly chat about the 1996 sequel to John Carpenter's 1981 action sci-fi cult classic Escape from New York. We're talking about Escape from L.A.
It takes more than big guns to save the world.
Hey, One-Eye!
Call me Snake. It takes the bad attitude.
Nobody draws until this hits the ground.
Kurt Russell. Escape from L.A.
Escape I still really struggle with. I think I own 3 versions of it. It doesn't matter. But they were sending themselves up. And it was intentional. And they've talked about it now years later. And Kurt got in on the writing this time. The thing that was so interesting about Escape from New York is that I think they, as a team, knew they were doing a bit of a send-up, but they played it very, very straight. And I think what's interesting about Escape is that there's times when it's not being played as straight, and so the tone gets a little bit confusing. And so there's moments that kind of pull you out of the movie a little bit, or there's times where the effects are kind of not quite as successful. And I think there's times where they're absolutely fighting their budget in a way that on Escape is not as New York is not as obvious.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I saw that one opening weekend when it was released. I was still living in New York. Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think tonally it was up and down. Yeah, with the effects were kind of like, some of them were wonky in some places. Yeah, there are some moments that I think kind of captured the spirit of it, but I was overall disappointed with it. There was something about, and I want to say, was it John Elves, who was the production designer on New York, that they basically Joe, Joe Elves, sorry.
Yep.
They're like, go out and find us a place that could, stand in for futuristic, dilapidated New York. And he found it was East St. Louis. And so you've got some of those location shots that just are non-existent in LA. That kind of tone works or something, or that kind of, those set pieces can work for something like Big Trouble in Little China, which is from the mark, a bit of a send up. Where you're coming from New York and now you get to LA and now you're kind of switching tones. It just lost me a little bit. So I don't. I'm not even sure that I've watched the whole thing since I first saw it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but yeah, it disappointed me.
I'd echo what Pete said. It was disappointing, but in the ways where it was campy at times, and because, like you said, New York was played straight, LA was not. And I have to imagine that there's a lot of pressure to make a sequel. There's a lot of pressure on Kurt Russell to now take a character that he's made iconic and revisit. It has to have a lot of challenges attached to it. I actually think it's more successful when Carpenter does vampires, because I think it starts to feel more like going back to a Western. It starts to feel a little bit more stripped down. I wonder, and not to second guess Carpenter, but I would have just imagined, I would have been interested to see what a sequel to Escape from New York would have been like, LA or otherwise, with almost like a smaller budget, with almost less resources, so that we would have seen the Logan version of Escape from New York.
Absolutely. And still part of me feels like I want to see that. I remember when I was a college student, I think one afternoon I took a stab at like an escape story. And like in mine, it was like Escape from Earth.
You mean it was Lockup? Sorry.
I'm sure it took pieces from Lockup. But I remember having this idea.
Did you have a classmate, Josh, called Luc Besson? Just going to throw that out. Because he's $500,000. He's out $500,000 after Carpenter won the lawsuit.
Oh, no. At least. No, I want more Snake. I want to see him again, Such a fantastic character. And, I've told my wife for years, like, Kurt Russell's my boyfriend. Like, that's he's my guy. That hair it's the greatest hair ever. Between this thing and Big Trouble, I mean, that hair's bouncing and behaving.
That's right. That's right. At least you have high standards, Josh. So that's something.
At least.